When was the last time you truly sat in silence? Not the silence of a quiet room, nor the momentary lull between conversations, but real silence. The kind where you stop, close your eyes, and listen, not to the world around you, but to the world within. We live in a time where silence has become a rarity. We're constantly surrounded by noise, notifications, conversations, the endless hum of daily life. And yet, it is in silence that some of life's deepest truths quietly wait for us to notice them. Have you ever wondered what might rise to the surface if you allowed yourself to be still? If you let the noise fade away, even just for a moment. In that silence, you might discover something unexpected, something profound. In this video, we'll explore the hidden power of silence and why it has been revered for centuries in spiritual and philosophical traditions. We'll reflect on how silence can lead us to greater clarity, deeper self-awareness, and even profound life transformation. This is more than just a pause from the noise, it's an invitation to embark on an inner journey. Because sometimes, the answers we seek aren't found in words, they're found in silence. What is silence? Is it just the absence of sound, a quiet room, an empty street, a still night? Or could it be something deeper, something far more profound? At first glance, silence seems simple, almost insignificant. But when we stop and truly immerse ourselves in it, we begin to realize that silence is more than just a lack of noise. It's a state of being. A space where everything unnecessary falls away, and we're left with what truly matters. There's a difference, though, between outer silence and inner silence. Outer silence is what we experience when we step away from the noise of the external world, the endless chatter, the buzzing phones, the constant distractions. It's the quiet we find in a deserted forest, a vast desert, or by the still waters of a peaceful lake. Visualize it for a moment, an empty path winding through a misty forest, the golden dunes of a desert stretching endlessly beneath the sky, or the glassy surface of a lake reflecting the soft hues of dawn. These places invite outer silence, a quiet that surrounds us, offering peace and tranquility. But there's another kind of silence, one that goes deeper. Inner silence. This is the silence within our own minds, the stillness that arises when we let go of the endless stream of thoughts, worries, and mental noise that often consumes us. Inner silence isn't about shutting down our minds, it's about gently quieting them, allowing space for clarity, insight, and awareness to emerge. Achieving inner silence can be challenging. In a world that constantly demands our attention, the idea of sitting in stillness can feel uncomfortable, even unsettling. But it is in this inner silence that we begin to reconnect with ourselves. We gain a deeper awareness of our thoughts, our emotions, and our true nature. In both outer and inner silence, something remarkable happens. We begin to hear what we were too busy to notice before. The quiet wisdom of our own intuition, the gentle whisper of our soul, and the truths that have been waiting patiently beneath the surface, waiting for us to slow down and listen. Silence, then, is not empty. It is full of potential. It is a gateway to deeper awareness, a bridge to profound truths, and a reminder that sometimes, the most powerful answers come when we stop speaking and start listening. In silence, we meet ourselves. In a world that constantly pulls our attention outward, silence gives us something rare and invaluable, a chance to turn inward. It's in these quiet moments that we begin to connect with our true thoughts and emotions, without filters, distractions, or noise. When we sit in silence, we stop running from ourselves. We create space to reflect on life's challenges, our goals, and our deeper purpose. Sometimes, this can feel uncomfortable. After all, silence has a way of surfacing the very things we've been avoiding, our fears, doubts, and hidden desires. But it is precisely through this discomfort that growth begins. In silence, we gain the courage to confront what lies beneath the surface. We start to understand ourselves more deeply. Who are we, beyond the roles we play? What do we truly want? What is holding us back? Visualize a person sitting alone, journaling quietly, reflecting by a tranquil lake. As they write, the noise of the outside world fades away, and they are left with the quiet hum of their own thoughts, the raw, unfiltered truth of their inner world. This is self-awareness, and it begins with silence. Silence also brings something else, clarity. Imagine a glass of muddy water. When the water is shaken, it looks murky and chaotic. But if you let it sit still, something magical happens. Slowly, the sediment settles, and the water becomes clear. Our minds work in much the same way. When we're constantly bombarded by information, conversations, and distractions, our thoughts become cloudy and jumbled. But when we allow ourselves to sit in silence, our minds begin to settle. The noise quiets, and clarity emerges. In this clarity, we gain perspective. What once seemed overwhelming starts to feel manageable. We begin to see situations from a new angle, and we can separate what truly matters from what is simply mental clutter. This is why silence is often called a teacher. It doesn't give us answers in words, it helps us discover the answers within ourselves. And sometimes, that quiet, inner knowing can be more powerful than anything we could ever hear from the outside world. Silence teaches us to listen. Not just to the world, but to ourselves. And in that listening, we may find the hidden lessons we've been searching for all along. Silence has a way of revealing what we often try to avoid. When we allow ourselves to sit in stillness, without distraction, we begin to confront truths we've buried beneath the noise. The fears we've been running from, the unfulfilled desires we've ignored, and the deeper questions about life that we've pushed aside, they all begin to surface. It can be unsettling at first. Silence strips away the layers we hide behind, exposing us to the raw, unfiltered truth of who we really are. But within that discomfort lies immense potential. Because when we confront these truths, we open the door to transformation. There's a paradox in silence. By saying nothing, it reveals everything. Picture a candle flickering in the darkness, a small, quiet flame. It doesn't speak, yet it illuminates everything around it, bringing clarity to what was once hidden in shadow. This is the power of silence. In its quiet presence, insights emerge, and we begin to see ourselves, and the world, with new eyes. Throughout history, silence has been revered as a path to wisdom and enlightenment. In many spiritual traditions, silence is not seen as emptiness but as a sacred space where truth can be heard. In Buddhism, silence is central to meditation, a practice designed to quiet the mind and lead to deeper understanding. Monks in Christian monastic traditions take vows of silence, believing that in the absence of words, they can better hear the voice of God. The ancient Taoist masters spoke of the silent knowing that arises when we let go of thoughts and simply be. These teachings remind us that silence isn't just the absence of sound, it's the presence of something deeper. A profound awareness that can't be grasped through words or intellect alone. When we embrace silence, we begin to listen, not just to the sounds around us, but to the quiet whispers of our own soul. We start to ask the big questions: who am I, really? What is my purpose? What does it mean to live a meaningful life? And in that stillness, answers may begin to unfold. They may not come in the form of loud epiphanies or dramatic revelations. Sometimes, they arise gently, like the soft glow of dawn breaking over the horizon, subtle, yet unmistakable. Silence has the power to guide us back to the truth, about ourselves, about life, and about what really matters. It reminds us that, beneath all the noise, there is a deeper wisdom waiting to be discovered. But we can only hear it, if we're willing to listen. Why is it so hard to sit in silence? In today's world, we are constantly surrounded by noise, phones buzzing, televisions blaring, conversations flowing, and notifications pulling us in every direction. Even when we're alone, we often seek out distractions, scrolling endlessly through social media, binge-watching shows, or drowning out the quiet with music, podcasts, or videos. But why do we do this? Why are we so uncomfortable with silence? The truth is, silence can be unsettling. It feels unfamiliar, even intimidating, because it forces us to face something we often avoid, ourselves. When the noise fades away, we're left alone with our thoughts, our worries, our insecurities. And that can be uncomfortable. The mind fears silence because silence reveals the truths we've been too busy or too distracted to confront. In the quiet, there's no escaping them. Picture someone sitting alone in a quiet room. At first, they glance around uneasily. Then, they reach for their phone, scrolling through their feed as if to escape the weight of the silence pressing in around them. This is a common experience. We avoid silence because it strips away the distractions that keep us from facing what's inside. But here's the paradox: while silence may be uncomfortable at first, it's also profoundly healing. When we stop running from it and allow ourselves to sit with the discomfort, something beautiful begins to happen. We start to feel calmer, clearer, and more connected to ourselves. So, how can we overcome the fear of silence and learn to embrace it? It doesn't have to happen all at once. Start small. Take a few minutes each day to sit quietly and breathe. Pay attention to the rise and fall of your breath, without judgment or expectation. Go for a walk without your phone, just you and the sounds of the world around you. Or spend a few moments in the morning or evening reflecting in silence, allowing your mind to settle. Over time, these small moments of silence can add up to something transformative. What once felt uncomfortable may begin to feel like a refuge, a space where you can find peace, clarity, and even joy. Remember, silence isn't something to fear. It's a gift, a doorway to self-discovery, healing, and truth. All you have to do is take the first step and listen. Silence is more than just a pause. It's a space where profound personal transformation can unfold. In the stillness, we find something that's often missing in our busy, noisy lives: a deeper connection to ourselves. By embracing silence, we begin to unlock greater peace, self-understanding, and emotional resilience. Imagine someone who feels overwhelmed by life. They're constantly anxious, juggling endless responsibilities, and weighed down by the noise of the world and their own racing thoughts. Every day feels like a blur, moving from one task to the next without ever stopping to breathe. One day, they decide to try something different. They carve out just 10 minutes to sit quietly, away from distractions. At first, it's uncomfortable. Their mind races, thoughts swirl, and the silence feels heavy. But they keep going. Every day, they return to that quiet space, even if it's just for a few minutes. And something begins to shift. Slowly, they notice that their thoughts aren't as chaotic. Their breathing becomes steadier, and they start to feel more grounded. In that silence, they begin to reflect on their fears, their dreams, and the things that truly matter. Over time, this simple practice of silence transforms their life. They become calmer, more present, and less reactive. The anxiety that once controlled them starts to fade, replaced by a sense of inner peace. They gain clarity about their goals and make choices that align with their authentic self. This isn't just a hypothetical story, it's a reflection of the countless people who have experienced the transformative power of silence. From ancient sages to modern mindfulness practitioners, those who embrace silence often describe it as a gateway to profound personal growth. Silence teaches us to observe our thoughts without getting lost in them. It strengthens our ability to respond to life's challenges with grace and resilience, rather than reacting out of fear or frustration. And perhaps most importantly, it helps us rediscover who we truly are beneath all the noise, the calm, centered, and wise self that has been there all along, quietly waiting for us to listen. This is the gift of silence, a journey from chaos to calm, from noise to clarity, from anxiety to peace. Take a deep breath. Let the world slow down for a moment. Let everything else fall away, the noise, the distractions, the endless rush, and just be here, now, in this moment. Silence can feel elusive in our fast-paced lives, but it's always there, quietly waiting beneath the surface. And when we take the time to pause, breathe, and listen, silence has the power to guide us towards something deeper. What might you discover if you allowed yourself to embrace silence? What truths are waiting for you beneath the noise? This is your invitation. Your call to reflection. In the days ahead, I encourage you to experiment with silence in your own life. Start small. You don't need hours of meditation or total isolation. You just need a few moments, a few breaths, to reconnect with yourself. Maybe it's taking a quiet walk in nature, sitting in stillness before the day begins, or simply turning off your devices for a while and listening to the quiet hum of life around you. And as you sit in that silence, notice what arises. Notice your thoughts, your emotions, your breath. Notice the way your mind begins to settle, like ripples on water slowly fading into stillness. To help you get started, let's take the next 30 seconds to simply breathe together. You don't have to do anything, just breathe and be. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Silence is a gift. A doorway to truth, peace, and clarity. The more you embrace it, the more it will transform your life.